Let's just wait for everyone to come back. Okay, we're almost at the number. All right. You guys are always so fast. I always say it, but you guys are so fast. Anyways, we're talking about the article. Okay. Okay, so where is it? Why? Can you guys? Jesus, I hate Zoom sometimes. For some reason this time around it's not loading. Can you guys see my screen? Like the article? Or no?
No, it's restorative best point of justice.
So let me try to open it for like the 16th time. Here we go. Okay, so this prison in, why can I not find it? Well, anyways, it's in America, and they have all these support groups. They have therapy, they have yoga, meditation, they have one part that I really like, confronting yourself. So they learn techniques about how to react. So like reactive versus like, I don't remember what they call it, but like reacting after thinking about the consequences of your actions, healing childhood trauma. So this is big. A lot of people end up committing crime because they have unsolved childhood trauma. So this is an example of restorative justice. So the idea that abolitionists also have is to have this sort of restorative justice without the help of prisons. So without the help of prisons, just have communities like approach these people who committed crimes, and these people need to have a conversation with the people they hurt and try to find a way to make up for their actions. So try to correct their actions with the people who they have hurt, or the families, or the entire community. Okay? Versus punitive justice. Punitive justice is what we have in place. Okay? So putting them in solitary confinement, putting them in jail, having like taking them away from society, isolating people. So those are the two models. So about restorative justice in the abolitionist sense. So having no prisons and just having people, like the community, solve the problem by talking to the person and have the person talk to their victim. Do you think that's effective? Do you think that will work?
For me, you need to have restorative, right? Right? And you need to burn it. Use I don't know how to say the punitive justice. You
Yeah.
need to choose a little bit because it's like a child. If you say everything is okay, she will helps a lot, but sometimes you need to do something.
Okay. And also, if you have restorative justice, do you think we still need prisons to like mediate? Do you think we can do restorative justice by ourselves without the help of prisons?
We can. I think yes, we'll help a lot of people, but not all of it. We'll have some people that will not accept it.
Yeah. Anybody else have thoughts on restorative versus punitive justice?
I think that
You can go well.
okay, restorative would work, but depends on the crime that the person commits and depends on the person. I mean, if you steal something from someone like a purse or a wallet, I think it would work totally. But crimes that are more how how can I say it more? It's worst. I don't think it would work. Like if you, how can I say asediar, or
If you harass,
if you arrest someone, for me personally, I would not like to see the person again. So I
yeah,
think that way it wouldn't work.
yeah. That's also, I mean, Bruna, go ahead. I can talk about it later.
It's because like I feel like with prison so far, if is it has come a long way because in the beginning they would punish you with how do you say it hurting you. They would
Yeah, by hurting you.
spank you.
Yeah.
And come a long way now, and we still have to change. But I feel like the change will take as much as it did to become this now. I don't want to, but I feel like it is. Like when you were saying about like I was saying about education. Uh, One thing that I think like public education. If we invest the money that we invest in prisons in school, it would still do not much because um, they have a system, a way that it works, a way that people think. Like I study in a public school, and there's a kid that smokes. And when I was talking with the receptionist of the school, she was like, "Oh yeah, he smokes. It's okay."
Yeah.
Like they don't do much to change it, and I think school should be a safe environment for you to grow, for you to say what you think about something. Like here in Brazil, a teacher cannot say his political side because it will be and unchecked.
Yeah, it'd
I don't
be
know how to
like
say it.
I don't know if that's the word in English, but it wouldn't be ethical.
Yeah, ethical. Yeah, it wouldn't be. And like I think schools should change its system before it gets more money,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and then in a way change how future prisoners, future inmates think. They would feel like it is a safe environment that they can grow, that they can share their thoughts, and still don't go to a criminal life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's so many systems in place that need to be reformed. Um, and it's hard. It's hard for us to think about abolishing prison when there's so many systems in place like education that even if you give so much money to it, even if you divert funds, there's still going to be people that are going to come out, and like people come out not knowing like the capital of Brazil, not knowing the capital of another country, and most importantly they come out still being involved with drugs, still not having faith in education. So it's really difficult. And also what you said, Laura, about if you were a victim of some sort of sexual harassment or any other sort of harassment, you wouldn't want to face your the offender. And that's very hard. Also, like what I found online, like trying to redeem your crime. So to redeem your crime is to like try to give back what you took, right? But what if you took a life? You can't give that back. Or like raping someone who's like that's probably their first sexual experience, that's going to harm them, that's going to scar them for life. What can you do to make up for that? So there's still a lot to be said about this. So we're going to be talking about these problems starting so that's basically what I said though. So restorative justice, offenders have a dialogue with the individual and communities affected by their actions. And then without the help of police, people work it out, basically, repair the damage. Okay, now let's talk about some problems. So one of the first problems is called the dangerous few. So that's like the few people, like psychopaths, like serial killers, or like serial abusers, people who can't be fixed, right? What do we do with them? So who is this? Does anybody know who this is in the picture?
I know who it is, but I don't remember his name.
Yeah, so recently he had a movie made about him with Zac Efron. Ted
Yeah.
Bundy. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's the name.
his name is Ted Bundy. He is one of the most famous, unfortunately, one of the most infamous serial killers in the United States. Um, like, so problems like him. Would you feel safe knowing that he's walking around, right? So this quote, I thought it was great, and it's a little complicated, so I'm going to break it down with you. So, abolitionists fail to advance alternatives that would deal with the dangerous few in ways that would keep communities safe, prefer activism over working towards tangible solutions, and hold the naive belief that the abolition of penalty will lead to a crime-free society. Basically, what this is saying that abolitionists are living this dream um, where if you take out punishment, if you don't make people pay for what they did, you're gonna believe and you're gonna live in this crime-free society, right? And instead of working for solutions, they just do activism, and that doesn't keep the community safe. Okay, so what do we think about the dangerous few? Is there something we can do for them? Is there a solution to this problem? Personally, would you feel safe walking around with people like this?
Uh, mm, Again, in my opinion, if they try out of prison and let's use the money for education, will be uh, I don't I don't remember. Vai ser melhor,
It would be better?
but yeah, but always will have someone bad like Japan. They use a lot of money on education, but still have criminal there.
Yeah.
Well, if they can, like, the most people that are in prison, they would be good, but still have bad people, and those bad peoples will be uh, like uh, muito mal.
Yeah, very evil. Mhm.
Yeah, because if the who is not so evil become good, and then the will only have the so evil, like bad people.
Yeah. Anybody else have thoughts on this?
I don't know. I think it's complicated because uh, depends. I will not feel safe with these people, um, but I don't think that they don't have the chance to live. Like, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't believe in, so are you talking about capital punishment, like the death sentence, or just prison in general?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Like the way of prison is right now is not a way to live,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And but I don't know how this kind of people, because it's still there isn't a I don't think that there is a treatment that
Guarantees?
that this kind of person will not commit a very bad crime again.
Yeah.
But I don't know how these people could live, but in a safe safe way for the other people.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this a little
Very
bit.
complicated.
Yeah. Anybody else has thoughts?
I think that this this not type of people, but these people that have mental problems shouldn't live in society because it's dangerous for us, obviously, and it's also dangerous for them. So I don't think that they should go to jail because it's not their fault. I mean, there's children that have this condition, this mental problem, and I don't think they should go to jail. I think they should go to like a psychologist clinic or something like that because they have a problem that we're born with them and they can change it. So I think they should live in a place where they are safe from themselves and from other people.
Yeah. Uh, about what you said, I think that's very valid. One thing that's also part of the prison abolition movement is to, like, not decriminalize because it's not necessarily a crime, but like remove stigmas from like mental health education and stuff. For example, Ted Bundy, he definitely has a mental condition. He's a sociopath, psychopath. If when he was a child, people identified these trends and were like, we're gonna take him to a therapist because that's the best thing to do, maybe he could have been reformed before he committed those crimes and before he was sentenced to death. So that's also a part of the abolitionist movement. But the problem is, still, not everyone is going to collaborate. So that's one of the issues. The other issue is the so-called double standard. So the double standard, it means like you apply the same concept, the same rule differently for different people. So it actually like works a lot in when you're talking about race. So Black people live under a double standard. Like, it's okay for a white person to do this, but it's not okay for a Black person to do this. Or they have the same job, like not the same job. Yes, the same job actually. That can work too. They have the same job, but they receive different salaries. They receive a lower salary. So the double standard in this case is that, remember when we talked about the prison industrial complex? So people working for prison, making money to these large corporations, like basically slave work, right? It does not make a problem of people that are not, of issues that don't come from race and capitalism. Racism and capitalism. So the double standard is, oh, but you're not making a problem from like, I don't know, rich white people, like CEOs of companies working in prison. You're not making a problem from that. So, I mean, this one is a little bit more complicated, but I hope you guys understood. Is it clear, the double standard problem? Or does anybody have questions about this? Okay, so we'll be moving on. Okay, now let's talk about the possibility of reforming instead of abolishing. So, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a while ago, there was a massive shooting in Norway. I forget the guy's name. I think it's Eric something. Well, this guy he killed 77 people in Norway, a country that has very, very low crime rates. He's definitely a psychopath. And then this is his jail cell. This is jail for him. Okay? It looks like it's better than my dorm. It's better than my room, honestly. Like, it looks better. But this is where he lives. So basically, Norway lives by the normality principle. So that means people are like they're living like they're in outside society. They can do all sorts of things, play tennis, whatnot, can they can work outside of prison. And at night, there are even like less guards taking care of them. So what do we think? Can you think, so a lot of the arguments is it fair for a person who killed 77 people to live in these conditions and to have all these like possibilities?
I think obviously he has a mental condition, so I think that it's not fair to put him in a jail like we have here, like so alone. But I don't think he should be able to go at the city at night and work at street or in society, live in society. And but I still think that he shouldn't be put in a jail and like live alone there.
Mm-hmm. So actually he's not living alone though. He can go out and do everything normally. Not normally, but like he can interact with other prisoners too. Anybody else has thoughts on the reform?
I think when you start making it like, oh, this is not fair to this person, but the guy that killed 75 people, uh, he has to go to another place to because he is more dangerous. I don't think it's fair because you place people in different levels, and that starts to it is like a communist thought that all inmates have to be in the same platform. I think that would help them improve. If a guy that stole 20 like a food out of a market, he could live with the guy that killed 75 people,
Mm,
and they would like share their thoughts. They would say, "Oh, I think this is wrong." They could help them their self improve uh, with their thoughts and have someone to have a I don't know weekly appointments to
yeah.
see how they are changing, how they are getting better.
Mhm. Yeah. Anybody else? Thoughts? And like now we can extend to like final thoughts about should we abolish prisons? About is it fair? Is it fair to have this for a man who killed 77 people? Um, yeah. Final thoughts, basically. Eduardo, did you want to say your point out loud? Would you mind repeating your point out loud?
Okay, I think. Sorry, it has so much noise here, so I'm avoiding the microphone. um, I said in the chat that I have not knowledge enough to solve a problem of this magnitude. I don't know if it is a word. But we shouldn't be separating, in my opinion, the all these alternatives, because we have so many levels and so many different problems and different people. So why we have only one system to deal with it?
Gotcha. So prison abolition wouldn't be, it's too radical because we still have people who need a sort of treatment from prison, but you can also reform prison to suit those people who are just unchangeable, in a way, or too dangerous. Yeah, I can see that.
Exactly. I think that it's something that we always see a lot around us, that everyone has to pick a side. We cannot just only look to the problem and try to solve it in the better way. It's like, or you have this opinion, or you have this other. We cannot be in the middle. We cannot just look to some place and say is wrong, but the other also sounds wrong.
Yeah. This is actually called a black and white fallacy. So a fallacy is like a faulty argument. It's a incorrect argument. So yeah. So you either want to abolish prisons or you want to like torture people. Yeah, it's completely incorrect. I mean, in my opinion, I think it might have been made clear throughout the presentation, but I think abolition would not work for certain people. I agree with you, Eduarda, that I mean there are people who still need the facility of a prison to help, like to heal, right? To face their traumas, face themselves, and but not the prison that we're living, not the prisons we have today. That's not a place where people can grow and learn from their mistakes. That's a place where people create hate. People hurt, well, like hurt people, right? Where people want to go out and commit more crime. And also, like, if you see in the video, like people who go to prison a lot of times can't do basics, like they can't exert their rights. So how can the person, like, if a person goes to prison, has a very hard time getting into college. So how can we expect them to not commit crimes again if they can't have an education? So it has all those sorts of nuances, all those sorts of questions we have to ask. Anybody else has thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think that is doesn't make sense. Like this person that commit crimes, they suffered violence,
Yeah.
and they go to the prison to suffer violence. You know,
Yeah.
and for me, it's complicated because everybody go to the prison, but I think that there is different kinds of crimes and people, and I don't think that put everybody that's totally different in this same place, uh, and try to treat everybody with in the same way. Do you know? Like different peoples are being treated in the same way, and this doesn't make sense for me.
Exactly. It's what Eduardo said, right? You have a person who stole a piece of bread, Jean Valjean, and you have a person who killed 77 people in the same place. How can you treat them the same way? The person who stole a piece of bread, they were hungry. I don't think that sort of person should go to prison. I think they should be given more opportunities. Yeah, so black and white fallacy, that's what it is. Fallacy. Okay, anybody else has thoughts?
I just want to share something.
Yeah.
My grandma, she does volunteer work in prisons, and every week she's in contact with a lot of young boys, like 19 or 20 years old boys. They are there because they stole something, because they were hungry, or because they wanted to help their families, and they regret their acts so much, and they want another chance, but everyone knows that their lives are not going to be the same because they were in jail, and society failed with them, and it's going to fail again, and they are not going to have the same chance. They are not going to have opportunities for uh, regret their acts. And I think these people should not go to jail because something that they are not, like, they don't have the they are not guilty of something like that.
Yeah, Bruna, go ahead.
I forgot that I had this thought. I was thinking it is really nice that if a person ended the time in jail, and I think would be really nice if we did like something like the witness protection system, like they don't get in their curriculum. It doesn't say that they went to jail because it would be more fair. Because in the minute, like, oh, that this guy has a nice face, let's hire him, and then you see that he was in jail for some time, and it is, oh no, we can have a jail guy that went to prison here.
Yeah.
So it would be really nice if it wasn't on record just for the police to see it, but it wasn't on record that they went to jail.
Yeah. That's a really, really interesting thought. I had never thought about that. Wow. That makes a lot of sense too. Like a prisoner protection program. Anybody else has thoughts